Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're with us on this Friday morning. We have a big show lined up, but first, let's take a look at our weather. Brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning. Drew Pollard and hard-working crew taking care of our everyday comfort needs. High today, 76, low 64. But take a look at this. Our water temperature brought to us by Alco Electric out of Lynn Haven. It's at 63.5, and I get tickled. I know some of y'all wonder why I talk about water temperature so much. I do this time of year especially. Yesterday it was 65. It's dropped a degree and a half overnight. And what that does is it's like it's teasing us, you know, almost ready for that big Spanish run, but not quite there. So it's been 63.5 before, like the early part of the week, then it hit 65 yesterday and then back down. So that's those little currents that come through, and you know that it's right there at the same spot at the end of the pier. And of course, if you read it on your TV weather, when you see it, that buoy is out there in the Gulf a little bit deeper and all. Our river reading is brought to us by Panama City Coca-Cola, talking about fresh water. The Apalachicola Bluntstown, 11.5, but it's dropping. Like I said yesterday, it'll be dropping on out. And then Choctaw Caryville right at 7.9, right at 8 foot, starting to drop. Now we have some, beware, I know you've seen the weather, we have some stormy weather coming in, maybe tomorrow night. Just be aware of what's going on around. If you get these text alerts and all, you know, try to get safe. And you know, these springtime storms, they can be vicious at times. As you recall, the one hit Enterprise High School in about 2013, I believe. But it's speaking of that, I'm proud to say some of the things we get to do on school board. I'm very proud that one of my schools is Bozeman, and we're breaking ground at Bozeman next week or week after spring break. We're breaking ground on a 2-story classroom building, but it's going to be not storm-proof. It's going to be able to withstand winds of 200 miles per hour. It's going to be a storm shelter and it's going to. I'm so excited about that, and we're going to see later more and more schools sort of built that way. But we're going to jump on it soon. I'll keep y'all posted on it. That's a big deal to me, and a big deal to our community. Okay, let's move on. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Low tide this morning at 6 o'clock. Now today's the 14th. Some decent tides. Next week will be a lot stronger tides. High tide 12-16 tonight. Really, honestly, really got a little bit of tidal flow, but a lot of deep tide. Wind southeast at 10 to 20. Let's do our fishing game times brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers. We're looking at one time 12:11 to 2:11 with the full moon we're having. That full moon is sort of stay pretty bright now the next couple of nights. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Glad you're with us this morning. Now, don't forget, Monday will be St. Patrick's Day, so make sure you wear green. If you don't, you get pinched. And I don't know if they still do that. Back when I was in school, even as a teacher, we pinch each other, and it was just a lot of fun. So I don't know if we still do that or not. So I do have an announcement. Tom Martin, he's real active with American Legion up there in Lynn Haven, and they do a lot of good things. I want to pass this on to you for Monday night. Please mention the American Legion Post 356 in Lynn Haven is having a St. Patrick's Day special. We will serving appetizers from 5 to 6 and then a traditional corned beef and cabbage dinner followed by dessert. Be playing Irish music that night. Is a fundraiser for the American Legion, and we would love if you come out and then say the blessing for the food. Okay, and there's Tom's number if you need to call him. I'm sure you can come by and pick up a plate. If you don't want to stay there and eat, just get some really good corned beef, because that's what happens this time of year. So I love taking advantage of holidays, and I'm looking forward. I will be there. The good Lord's willing, the creek don't rise. Okay, it's been some good fishing, not great fishing. It's going to be hard to put together the fishing report because we did have so much wind this week, but that's later on. But let's show some pictures. This is one of my former students, Roger Dover. In the freshwater, that's a 52.6 pound blue. He would have won that tournament last week. Roger is a fine outdoorsman. They got there at a fish camp, and that is a fine big old blue cat. You can get several meals off that. And I love that setup there. That's a good job, Roger Dover. Okay, let me move on. Okay. Pretty excited. My loan was just approved. I'm closing on a dozen eggs on Tuesday. So hopefully, you saw where they went down a little bit. Maybe it'll continue doing that. Jump on Howard Creek. This was on freshwater now. In the background, you can see the SS. This was last week. The SS United States being towed down the Brothers River on the way to Mobile. They came through the intercoastal that way. So is that a great shot? How many times at Howard Creek you're going to see something like that? And then the kid catching that big fish, and that was sort of well, not done intentionally with it going by, but that's what it was. That's cool. Okay. This is trolling. This is kayaking and trolling around. Didn't hook up, but I caught a few slot reds, and then I landed a 34-inch gag grouper. But what I want to talk about, if he said right here, if you're doing kayak fishing, this can happen. The last three sentences, my yak box, see it right there on the left? That's your little tackle box. It knocked it into the water with about $200 worth of jigs. I had never felt such happiness and sadness within a short time span. Can you imagine catching that big gag like that and then knocking your tackle box over? But that, if you fish a lot, you know exactly. We've all done that, knock something out of the boat. So anyway, hopefully he found it. Steve Taylor, pastor there at Emerald Coast Fellowship, went to Lake Seminole, their spring break, and it was on a meat trip, which is nothing wrong with that. Caught 27 catfish in 2 days, fishing with his son Austin. And it was real special, and he chose, he wanted to go fishing with his dad. So how about this? Went and caught some catfish up there at Lake Seminole, and you know they had a great time. Look at there. All right, good one. And there's the bottom line. You got them clean. You got them in that ice chest. Got them iced down. Bring them back to the house. Eat some and put some in the freezer. And we've all been there. Want to go catch some fish and put some in the freezer and eat them fresh. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Glad you're with us this Friday morning. Don't forget to tune in on Monday's show. We're going to have a guest coming in. Coach Ernie Martin from Crestview's coming down. He has some new baits he's been trying out and has had a lot of success. They'll be coming out of Louisiana. A guy over there makes some baits, and man, they have tore them up. He sent me pictures also. Don't forget to tune in Monday morning. Let's move on. I love going across these sayings because a lot of times they mean a lot to you. How about this? I'm finally starting to understand why sometimes old people sit outside just to sit outside. And when I was doing my book, one of my favorite stories, I remember some old timers telling me there was a guy lived off of on Jinx Avenue. You got this back in the early 1900s, 1930s, and all. And he would sit on his front porch every afternoon because the day the paper would come, after lunch, and he'd be reading the paper in a rocking chair. And one time, one of the guys said that he was a real nice guy, but the guy didn't know how to read, but he wanted folks to know to think that he knew how to read, and he didn't know how to read because sometimes you have the newspaper upside down, and he just didn't know. But he always sat on that front porch. I don't know why I thought about that story when I saw that, but that's a true story. All right, get back to, always talking about great wildlife photography. I'm always bragging on Tess Randall Jolly up there in North Alabama, and this is a spectacular shot. And she put a Bible verse in there with it, and here we go. Check that out. I mean, the clarity and the definition and the feathers, and just getting them side by side. And I'm going to show you a picture later of one that she did the same one. Real quick, this was interesting now. I got a gold drum on a jig head, about 35, 40 pounds. It had a couple of redfish dots on the side, but it's a drum, okay? Check that out. And I looked it up, and it said about 1% or to 2% they can sort of cross hybrid. They can have a hybrid like that. And that's rare. A drum with some redfish spots on it. Okay. All right, next picture. Here's a jig he caught it with. That purple and gold, that's the Louisiana LSU color, but that's a good jig. Thank you for sharing that. This is down in Mount Dora. This is around Apopka, Zellwood right here. This is called Zellwood sweet corn, and we used to get that's special corn down there. It's I want to share this with you. A 700-acre farm is being sold to a developer. Now 700 acres of that Zellwood sweet corn right there, and they're going to develop it. And that's another farm in Florida that we lost, and it's amazing. And this is going to happen up here. I just hope it. Maybe not in my lifetime, hopefully. But anyway, this is Spanish moss. I showed this about 3 or 4 years ago. People during the Depression, they didn't do anything for money. They would go in these trees and just pulling this Spanish moss off. And they actually put them in mattresses, believe it or not, and it provided great income, and also upholstery, and also automobile seats. So that interesting piece of history there. Okay, crocodiles. We don't have them up here. I didn't realize I had that many down in South Florida. I started reading up on a crocodile, and it's really the conservation has been protected since 1967, and they just had a few hundred. Now they're over like 2,000 today. So we've downlisted it from endangered to threatened, which is another category. So here's a range of it. You can see we don't have any up here, but they're all there in the marsh area, really from Central Florida on down, all throughout that area. The American crocodile. I just never had much experience with them, but they've really succeeded in saving them. The landing hams, this is Dennis and his brother, they're throwing a net. His wife took the picture. Is that not a great picture? Especially this time of year, getting you some bait fish. And Dennis Landingham and his brother and their dad is fine fishermen. Dennis is a great artist, and I want to get him to come on the show pretty soon and show some of his work. But a great outdoorsman. But I absolutely love that picture right there. Good job. Okay. All right, this was the illegal spearfishing. It was they caught one guy got away. But what I was going to say, they speared right there. 2 spear tarpon and an undersized snook were recovered. So they were spearfishing. This guy got away. One guy got caught, and one guy got away. But they did. I think they caught him later. Okay. When you bring home those discount eggs that you bought at a farmer's market in Florida, they hatch out, and you got the little gators with you. So be careful with the eggs. You buy them at a discount place like that. My son-in-law, Walter Woodrick, sent this to me. I just met Ricky and Kathy Strickland. He's a retired electrician. He's watched your show for years. He said, tell Mr. Chester that we hunters need to watch out that our empty corn bags don't blow out of our trucks. He said he counted 7 of them on the way up to his property in Jackson County the other day. He doesn't want us hunters to get a bad rap. You know, that is so true. A lot of times we're all guilty of throwing stuff in the back of our truck and with no intention of littering and all, but not paying attention, and it blows out. And I've become very, very conscious of really, I don't put anything loose back there. I know a lot of y'all have, but then people are going to see that and say, look at those old hunters, they don't care about it. We care about it more than most people as hunters and outdoorsmen. So I appreciate you sending that, Ricky, and I'm glad we get to mention that on the show, because we're not going to do that intentionally. Another sign of springtime coming and fishing coming up from Miller Marine. Got this picture here. This is the Kelly girl has been up there at Miller Marine, got his annual checkup and tune up, and the Kelly girl is ready for the 2025 fishing season, rolling it out. And I know Mark and all his crew are getting ready. So I love to see that. That's a sign that we're on the verge of it. I like this. Okaloosa County bought this old building. It's not an old building. It's just one that just really, I think people started working from home out of this bank building and all, but they bought it. Of course, they're going to make a tourism place, but what they're going to do, they're going to upgrade the boat ramp there. Anytime, you know, we're talking about boat ramps being upgraded, that's a big deal to us. So good job, Okaloosa County over there. Real quick, next week, 2 weeks, April 5th, this is up in Holt, Florida, which is around Milton. I just love seeing things like this. It's a fundraiser, it's competitive clay shooting, and I've done it for 5 years now. It's the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts doing it. So I wish we could sort of do one around here. And but if you're up in that area on the western end of a viewing area, check it out. It's a great fundraiser, and that shooting is a lot of fun like that. This is the other picture I was talking about from Tess. The same two turkey. All right, she's got them. Is that not patient? But look at those beards on it. Two big turkeys. We're getting ready for turkey season. I just want to get y'all fired up and excited about it. Okay. All right. We got some more pictures. I don't know if we got the time to get through all of them. I do want to mention this right here because it's so important. Talking about oysters and all. This is U.S. Fish and Wildlife. They did this. It's not an experiment. This is really a demonstration. Same water, but on the left, the water comes from where I forgot what river, but it's up there. Anyway, it's a river. But how mussels and oysters filtrate. It has one mussel in it. Oysters in salt water, mussels in fresh water. And see the filtration system set up like that. That's the same. The water's put in at the same time, and just a couple of days later. So you see, in nature, nature can take care of itself if we just help it out and keep those good things in it. Don't take all the oysters out, don't take all the mussels out and eat them and all that kind of stuff. So I love seeing things like that and sharing with you. All right, let's get ready for our drawing from first of all, from Gene's Oyster Bar and then from Tarpon Dock Seafood. And you get some good oysters over. Speaking of oysters, there's some good oysters over there. Okay, here we go. Gene's Oyster Bar. There's a lot of these oysters coming in from all over the place now, but they're all good. The winner of the Dale Pierce, the winner of the fried mullet place, Dale Pierce. Don't say where he's from, so I'm assuming he's from around here. All right, Dale, I'll take a picture and text that to the folks at Gene's Oyster Bar. Ronnie will be getting that. Okay, now a $20 gift certificate. Lisa Ward from Ebro. All right. Now, you know, $20 to buy a good chunk of fish. Gail and I had a $20 bill the other day and bought a piece of fresh grouper, and it fed both of us. And, you know, it was so good. Okay, and the big red snapper. All right, coming all the way from, I can't get it loose. I got his name right here. How about this? This is Captain Rich Frady. He's up at Compass Lake. Now remember, he's a member of the Lowdown Losers Lying Fishing Club. So, Rich, you don't have to lie about the red snapper. You can say you caught that red snapper, but you caught it at a fish market at Tarpon Dock. Okay, congratulations. Take a break, come back with our famous Friday fishing forecast. Okay, welcome back and welcome to the famous Friday fishing forecast brought to us by Jessica Ling, Insurance and Financial Group right there in Lynn Haven, and do a great job. And Jessica's just an outgoing young lady and has a great group of folks working for her. So we're about to give them a visit. Looking at, you know, I was putting this together last night, and usually I start on, the last couple of weeks I've started over on the Choctaw Bay and worked there eastward. I'm going to start in Apalachicola Bay and work ourselves westward. And one thing, but I want to mention first, the full moon, of course, was last night, but it lingers on for 3 or 4 days. And in fresh water, my dad always talked about it 3 days before and 3 days after. So, you know, the day of the full moon, usually not that good, but right afterwards and right before. So keep that in mind when you're doing your freshwater fishing. And I know it affects the saltwater too. Okay, let's jump down here to Apalachicola Bay. St. George Island. I'm talking about now. They've caught some the whiting bite at the state park down there has been on fire. Of course, everybody's out there looking for pompano and Spanish, but the whiting right down here, right here on the east end of the island, and boy, what a pretty place that is. So if you get a chance to go surf fishing right now, this weekend, if you go out there tomorrow, expect to catch some whiting. So that's been really good. And on the bay, in the bay system back behind there, and back behind Dog Island, of course, I encourage you to look at some live bait. Get some live shrimp and put it under a popping cork. If you really want to catch some fish right now, that live shrimp and also fiddler crabs, we'll talk about that. They've caught a bunch of sheephead early part of this week on the bridges down there. Now, I hadn't heard about it last day or two, but be aware they're really catching a lot. The bridge, well, here we're talking about the bridges and all. Let's go over to East Point. I haven't talked about the East Point Bridge a lot, but that's where some of the fish have been caught this past week on the East Point Bridge. Okay, so live bait's going to be good. I do want to mention about pompano. It fascinates me every year in springtime how the pompano are always caught on the western end of the Panhandle first, because instead of on either, you think they're coming up the Florida coastline, which they are coming up, but every year, the past 2 weeks, I've seen pompano pictures from over there in Gulf Shores, Navarre, Pensacola and Navarre. The Navarre Pier, they're catching them now, but they just start catching them there. And I talk about it with all kinds of different people that know about fishing. We all agree some kind of warm current sort of comes into that area first, and then it comes here the second. So when they start catching them there, they catch them here. So anyway, 68 degrees. We've had one full fog, maybe two, so we're close. I'm thinking maybe next week or so we'll get our third fog, but we're at 65 degrees now. That's important. Also, on freshwater side, I wrote down catfish. The catfishing has been really good. You saw Roger Dover at 56-pounder. With the river falling out, the big river falling out, it'll be a good weekend to do some catfishing. Going on up toward Mexico Beach, I haven't seen anybody. There's not much surf fishing going on at Mexico Beach because of all that renourishment going on. Moving on over towards Chocolate Bay, haven't got much word on what's going on over there. It's been really a slow week in fishing, which means next week will be better. And you don't know until you go, is what I tell everybody. But it's going to be some good things. The big thing, the water temperature, just keep an eye on it and be ready to move on it. Let's see, I did write down again. I wrote down at the bottom whiting. The whiting bite has been really strong on St. George Island. So that's coming straight from fishermen who are fishing down there. So as you get ready this weekend, first of all, we mentioned earlier, stormy weather coming in and maybe rainy on Sunday and all, but tomorrow should be some good fishing. It's going to be a little bit windy, but freshwater, bass fishing, that full moon of February, if you're bass fisherman, you know what that means. Those females will be coming up there laying eggs now, and sometimes they may bite, or sometimes they're just going to stare at it at 45 casts. So, you know how to fish for it, but bass fishing really start picking up. Crappie fishing is going to be good. It's going to be some good fishing the next couple of weeks. So if you get a chance to go out tomorrow, even this afternoon, if you get off at lunch or something and go out and take a look at it. We're going to wrap it up. We're glad Jeff is back with us and feeling better, and y'all take care of yourself. There's been a lot of sickness going around, so we're going to, next week I have some special guests coming in, then the next week there's some more really good stuff coming up next 2 weeks that I have planned out. So y'all stay tuned. We appreciate the viewership. Y'all do something good for someone else today. Enjoy the great outdoors, and let's take care of it, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.